Some theists may continue to argue that even though the Bible condones immoral acts like slavery, killing non-believers, and even possibly sacrificing your own child if called upon to do so, if moral absolutes do not exist, then how can anyone have the authority to claim another person's actions are wrong?
Without a conception of God, how do I explain to someone like Hermann Goering or Adolf Hitler that this is immoral? Without an absolute standard on which to stand, how is it that one human can say to another, what you are doing is immoral?
The proponents of objective morality commonly raise the question about Hitler and what makes his act of committing genocide against the Jewish people wrong if there is no objective standard by which to examine moral conduct. In other words, if morality is not fixed and absolute, what is the motivation to be moral? And who is to say that one version of morality is any better than another? However, this is not the question we should be asking, but rather, if morality is fixed and absolute, then how can there be so many different versions of objective morality? The problem with debating moral issues regarding someone like Hitler is due to the very fact that Hitler believed in moral absolutes. It is clear from Hitler's speeches and writings that he was convinced moral standards are absolute and prescribed by God. But more importantly, Hitler believed he was actually conducting himself according to God's moral absolutes. Although there is historical evidence to suggest Hitler was not a practicing Christian and may have even plotted to destroy Christianity altogether, despite remaining in good standing with the Roman Catholic Church until the time of his death, it is undeniable that Hitler believed in God. The exact version of God that Hitler believed in is irrelevant for the purposes of this discussion, because the fact still remains that Hitler believed he was conducting himself according to God's divine will, a fact repeatedly stated in public speeches as well as in his book, Mein Kampf.
Man kann nicht dem untreu werden, was einem ganzen Leben Inhalt, Sinn und Zweck gegeben hat. Es wird nicht so etwas aus nichts, wenn diesem Werden nicht ein großer Befehl zugrunde liegt. Und den Befehl gab uns kein irdischer Vorgesetzter, den gab uns der Gott, der unser Volk geschaffen hat.
What we have to fight for is the necessary security for the existence and increase of our race and people, the subsistence of his children, and the maintenance of our racial stock unmixed, the freedom and independence of the fatherland, so that our people may be enabled to fulfill the mission assigned to it by the Creator. In short, the results of miscegenation are always the following. A. The level of the superior race becomes lowered. B. Physical and mental degeneration sets in, thus leading slowly and steadily toward a progressive drying up of the vital sap. The act which brings about such a development is a sin against the will of the eternal Creator, and as a sin, this act will be avenged. I believe today that my conduct is in accordance with the will of the Almighty Creator. If moral absolutes do indeed exist, then how is it possible for Hitler's objective version of morality to so greatly differ from other versions of objective morality, such as those belonging to the very same people who believe in moral absolutes and are so quick to invoke the name of Hitler during debates of this nature? Even if moral absolutes could exist, it would be pointless to believe that they do, because it is utterly impossible to know with any certainty exactly what those moral absolutes are. The simple fact that different versions of objective morality can even exist in the first place renders a belief in moral absolutes meaningless. For how can anyone accurately determine which version of objective morality is correct if all parties believe they are following God's divine will? Never mind how an atheist would convince Hitler that his version of morality is incorrect. How would a Christian convince the members of the Westboro Baptist Church that their understanding of God's morality is wrong? How would a Muslim convince Al-Qaeda that their understanding of God's morality is wrong? In fact, how could someone belonging to any religion convince the members of an opposing belief system that their understanding of divine morality is wrong? Because you cannot ask God which version is correct, because you cannot use absolute morality to infer anything beyond what you personally believe God states is right or wrong, any hope for honest debate is lost. A belief in moral absolutes also prohibits learning by discouraging the examination of scientific evidence that might provide greater insight into moral questions. For instance, if Hitler had not based his morality on what he believed to be God's divine will, but rather on scientific fact, he would have found there is no such thing as racial purity, and simply upon those grounds, he would have no basis upon which to commit genocide against any group of people. Similarly, science has revealed that homosexuality is determined before one's birth, and is not a choice as was once commonly believed. Therefore, the United States should afford gays the same rights as every other tax-paying American citizen. Without the judge's ability to uphold laws, and the legislature to shape public policy based on new evidence and changing cultural perceptions, we would still have social injustices like slavery. Women would be unable to vote, and it would still be illegal for interracial couples to have a relationship. Indeed, if they could have their way, this is the kind of bigoted society many monotheists would like to return to.
Hi, my name is Charlie, and I'm voting against the 3 judges. If homosexual marriage is okay, then why can't I have a harem? And if they say what's good and whatever they feel like saying is okay, then why can't I pick up a gun and kill somebody? All these questions of philosophy and morality and religion and faith and political values, they all boil down to the answer to a single question, and that is, do you or do you not believe that an external agent was required to start life? If there was no such thing as God required to start life, then there's no reason to be accountable to anything for anything, and so you get all kinds of bad behaviors that stem from who's got the most power. But if you think that there is a God that created life, then you are accountable and you should act that way, including these judges. Thank you.
Absolute morality leaves no room for debate and no leeway to accommodate society's changing perceptions about moral and social issues. The inflexible nature of moral absolutes discourages growth and understanding, because the act of changing one's mind about God's divine moral standard results in the appearance of hypocrisy and negates the very basis of objective morality. Therefore, despite all the rhetoric about seeking humility and being humble, monotheists can never change their minds about what they believe to be God's divine will, because their pride and unquestioning faith in God prevents them. Finally, fixed morality leads to elitism and provides fertile ground for tyrants such as Hitler to obtain influence and power. In order to have a sound code of conduct that is applicable to everyone, that is accurate and consistent, yet adaptable to various circumstances, our understanding of morality cannot be governed by the ambiguous will of a God that every religion interprets differently. Only a secular understanding of morality can achieve a logical, consistent, and all-encompassing code of conduct. Hitler's actions were wrong because he systematically violated the core principles of secular morality by denying the Jewish people access to their belongings, denying their want of freedom, and most importantly, denying their desire to live. Furthermore, Hitler caused a great detriment to society at large, not only in Germany, but across the entire world.